day friends, welcome to this lecture series on portfolio risk and return. In my previous lecture, I talked about portfolio management process, in which I talked about portfolio construction, portfolio evaluation and portfolio revision. In this lecture, my focus will be on finding out the portfolio return and risk. What is portfolio return? Portfolio means basket of equity shares, if I am talking of the equity shares. That is, you buy not one security, you buy number of securities. And each of the security will give you different returns. So what you want to find out is, what is the overall return of the portfolio? So it's very simple, that you take the average weighted return of each of the security which you have invested, and you get what is the return of your portfolio. If I refer portfolio return as RP, so RP is the weighted average of the return of the individual securities constructing that portfolio. If I have invested in 5 different securities and I'll find out the return of all these 5 securities, and I know the proportion in which, proportion means proportion of the total investment in which I have invested in each of the security, right? And I'll calculate the weighted average return of this, and I'll able to get what is the portfolio return of my portfolio, right? So weights are the proportion of the total funds invested in a particular assets, right? If I to take the thing simple to understanding purposes, if I am investing in 2 securities equally, I am investing 1 lakh rupees, I am investing 50,000 in A company, and I am investing 50,000 rupees in B company, right? And A company gives me a return of say 17.5%, and B company gives me a return of 1.7% only, right? So what I am saying is that I am investing in 2 securities. One security is giving me a return of 17.4%, and the other security is giving me 1.7%, right? And in each of the security, I have invested equal amount. That if I am investing 1 lakh rupees, 50,000 in A security and 50,000 in B security. So what is the return? So return of portfolio is the weighted average return, right, which is equivalent to summation of I is equal to 1 to N. N means number of securities invested in a portfolio. I means from first to N number of security. I will make summation of all this. WI means weight of ith securities into RI. RI means the return of ith security. So in our example, there are only 2 securities. So I'll say the weight of one security, that is 0.5 of A security, multiplied by 17.4%, which is the return which I am expecting or which I have got if you are calculating after the receipt of this return, right? So 0.5 multiplied by 17.4% plus 0.5 multiplied by 1.7%. 1.7% is the return of the B security. I am presuming there are 2 securities, A and B, and in each of the security I am investing equally. So out of 1 lakh, 50,000 in A, 50,000 in B. So 50,000 of 1 lakh comes to be 50%. So weight is 0.5. Again, same, the weight of security B is also 50%. Had I invested 60% and 60,000 rupees in A security and 40,000 rupees in B security, I would have said 0.6 multiplied by 17.4% plus 0.4 multiplied by 1.7%. But here, since we have invested equally, so I will say 0.5 multiplied by 17.4 plus 0.5 into 1.7%, that comes to be 9.6%. So return of the portfolio is 9.6%. So here I have taken very simplistic example. You can take n number of securities and you just multiply the weights multiplied by the return of the security, and you make summation of all these, it will give you weighted average return of the different securities, right? So this will give you the return of the portfolio. So return of portfolio, if there are 2 securities, it will be always between RA and RB. That is, if there are more than 2 securities, So, lowest return and the highest return, somewhere between the two, your return of the portfolio will be this, right. So, in this way you calculate the return of the portfolio. Now, how you calculate the risk of the portfolio? So, risk of the portfolio is not simply the weighted average return, weighted average risk of the individual securities, right. So, it is the combined risk of the securities comprising the portfolio. I will be coming to it. So, I am saying again repeating, combined risk of the securities comprising the portfolio. So, whatever the risk associated with each of the security, right. So, you combine. So, when you combine these securities, this will give you the risk of the portfolio, but not the weighted average. I will be talking of this. So, both the securities variance and covariance, friends, this is important. Securities variance, variance is nothing but the risk of the security, which we measure through standard deviation, right. So, both the securities, when we discussed in our previous lectures on the risk of individual security, in length we discussed that how you calculate the risk of individual security, and we have done we have taken many number of examples through which we explain, we discussed this issue, how to calculate the risk of the securities. So, which is being standard deviation is the most popular measure of measuring the risk of the security. So, I am saying both the securities variances and covariances influence the portfolio risk. So, what it means is that portfolio risk is not only influenced by the risk of individual security, it is also being influenced by the covariance of the securities, right. So, variance measure the securities individual risk, as I said, it is being measured through standard deviation, right, and covariance measures the tendency of the two securities to move together. Friends, you should be very clear in your mind what is covariance. Covariance measures the tendency of the securities to move in a particular direction. Like, say for example, if I say that if X prices increases by 10%, the price of Y also increases by 10%. It means the tendency to move both the securities is perfectly aligned, right? They go in the same direction. Sometime A security increases 10% and the B security increases by 15%, right? So, there is a correlation, coefficient of correlation between those two, and there is a covariance, will measure the covariance. Sometimes there may be a negative relationship also, right. So, if one security is the prices of one class of securities is increasing, the prices of other security may be falling. So, what is the covariance? This is also important to understand. So, thus portfolio risk is not only the weighted average of the securities standard deviation is a measure of risk, but includes covariance term also, right. So, there are two things, one is the securities standard deviation, that is risk, and covariance term also. So, what is the formula of portfolio risk? It is the square root of, this is the risk of the portfolio standard deviation. The risk of the portfolio is the weight of first security, square of weight of first security, into standard deviation of first securities square plus the square of weight of the second security into the square of the standard deviation of the second security. I am presuming there are two security portfolio, plus 2 into weight of first security into weight of two security into covariance of first and second security. So, what it means is, I am repeating, let me tell you what each of these shows, that WI is the proportion of total funds invested in security 1. As I said, portfolio consists of number of security, and the proportion of the total investment in which you have invested in a particular security, it becomes the weight of that security. Suppose there are two securities, 60,000 rupees you have invested in first security, 40,000 in the security B. So, I will say the weight of the first security is 0.6 and the weight of the second security will be 0.4, right. So, the weight of the W1 is the proportion of total fund invested in security 1, and then standard deviation of first security is the standard deviation because the weight multiplied weight with the standard deviation of the first security, right? Similarly, W2 is the proportion of the total fund invested in security 2, right? And then risk of the second security is the standard deviation of the security 2. And covariance of 1 and 2 is the covariance between security 1 and 2, right? And covariance 1 or 2, what is how you calculate the covariance? What is covariance of 1 and 2? So it is risk of first security into risk of second security into correlation coefficient or coefficient correlation of first and second security, P12, where P12 is the correlation coefficient of security 1 and 2. So by using this formula, you can find out the risk of the portfolio. I am repeating that it is a square root of, the risk of the portfolio is equal to square root of square of weight of the first security multiplied by the square of the standard deviation of the first security plus the square of the weight of the second security into the square of the risk of the or standard deviation of the second security plus 2 weight into weight of first security into weight of 2 security into covariance of 1 and 2. And covariance is basically the risk of first security and the risk of second security and the correlation coefficient of security 1 and 2. That is covariance of 1, 2 is equal to, that is when I am using 1, 2 means I am presuming there are 2 securities. Had it been 3, I would have said like this, right? Then the formula would have been different, right? So here for simplistic reason, we are taking only 2 security model, right? So covariance means if we analyze this formula, covariance is equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n Pi. Pi means the probability, right? So the probability of different events or economic states. RA means the return of the security A minus expected return of RA means return of A. So return of first security, RA means is the actual return or the realized return minus expected return of the A security. I am presuming there are 2 security A and B multiplied by RB. RB means return of B, actual or realized return of B minus expected return of B. So it is the product of this. So where ERA is the expected return of security A, RA is the actual or realized return of security A, Pi is the probability of different events or economic states. Like I am presuming there may be a booming condition, there may be a normal condition, there may be a depressed condition. So these are different events or economic states that is possible in the equity market. N is the number of different states or economic states, right? So in this way you can measure the covariance. This is the formula of measuring the covariance. So there are 3 possibilities of covariance. I'm just explaining what the different situations are in the covariances, right? So there can be a positive covariance. Positive covariance means move in the same direction. If equity A increases, equity B also increases. We'll say that it is a positive covariance. Zero covariance means there is no relationship between the return of security A and return of the security B. That is called zero covariance. And the other is called negative covariance. Negative covariance means move in the opposite direction. Say for example, if I say when the crude prices in the international market goes up, crude prices changes very fast. Normally India, what I have observed over a period of time is all those companies which are oil marketing companies like BPCL, HPCL, IOC and all these companies which are basically into the oil marketing companies, right? So they sell oil in the market, they have their own petrol pumps and through those petrol pumps they sell it. Normally the prices of these companies falls. When the crude prices, international crude prices goes up, the price of these securities comes down. So the crude producing company like ONGC, the price of the company will go up as the international crude prices goes up. But the oil marketing companies, the price of those marketing companies, the equity price of those companies normally falls, right? So if steel prices goes up and the commodity prices goes up, the companies which are producing automobile, like say Maruti company, Escorts, or like for that matter the two-wheeler company like Hero Honda, Bajaj Auto, the price of these companies falls because the inputs become more expensive. When petrol prices goes up, right? So the paints producing company prices comes down, right? So what it means is there is always a relationship of the two things. So though when the petrol prices goes up, the crude producing companies prices will go up, right? But the price of the paint company will come down, because it is difficult for the paint companies having the stiff competition among the paint producing companies to pass on the burden, the whole burden of increase in the crude prices to the consumers, right? So prices comes down. It is not a rule as such. I am presuming other things remaining same, right? Because in the equity market, in the stock market, there are hundreds of factors which affects the share price. I am presuming, normally I am generalizing, and on the base of that I am giving you this statement, right? So there may be a positive covariance when the two shares, suppose I am taking two equity model, it goes in the same direction. Zero covariance means no relationship between the return of security A and B. Negative correlation means move in the opposite direction. So this is how you measure the covariance, right? We have referred it earlier, summation of PI into RA minus expected. This we have already discussed. So there are three possibilities: positive covariance, zero covariance, negative covariance, move in the opposite direction. Now let me take an example and explain how you calculate the covariance. So let me, in the first line, you first take this example. There are 4 years, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Return of A means return of A security. There are two securities, A security and the B security. There are two equity shares in which the investor has suppose invested, A and B. So return of A in the 4 different years is given: 11%, 13%, 17% and 19%. Similarly, return of B is also given: 18%, 14%, 11%, 9%, right? So first of all, you have to find out what is your return, average return. Since the proportion, the weights are not being given, only thing is given is that the investor has invested in security and there are 4 different years, and in different years there is a different percentage of return which the investor has got, right? So 11, 13, 17, or it is, I will call it, yes, there are different years in which different returns are being given, right? So what you calculate is, you calculate the average return. What you do is 11 plus 13 plus 17 plus 19 divide by 4. Since there are 4 years involved, so you calculate this will give you the average return. So this comes to be the return of the security A. Similarly, you add up the return of B security in 4 different years, that is 18 plus 14 plus 11 plus 9, and then you divide it by 4. That gives you the expected return of the B security, right? So in this way you get the return of A security and you make the average of these 4 years return. This give you a return of A security and return of B security. Then you find out what is the deviation, because as you know, if you recollect the formula, the summation of, if you recollect this formula, summation of I to 1 probability, the probability of different events, right? So here probability is not being given, so return of A minus expected return of A. So here you are taking deviation of A, return of A minus expected return of A. A means A security. So your average return, that is 15%, right? So that is 11% minus 14%. A is these are the returns which are realized return minus expected return, right? So 11%, 15% minus 11%. Sorry, 11% minus 15% minus 4. 13% minus 15% minus 2. 17% minus 15% plus 2, right? 19% minus 15% plus 4. So this is deviation of A. In a similar manner, you will calculate deviation of B. What is deviation of B? Return of B minus expected return of B, right? So your 18% minus 13%, that gives you 5%. 18% minus 14%, right? Sorry, 15%. Sorry, 15%, right? So 15% minus 14%, 1%. 15% minus 11%, right? That gives you minus 2 minus 4. Sorry, I am repeating. Return of B minus expected return of B will give you 5, 1, minus 2, minus 4, right? And then the product of the A and B, that is the column number 4 and column number 5, division of A and division of B, that is minus 4 multiplied by 5, minus 2 multiplied by 1, 2 multiplied by minus 2, 4 multiplied by minus 4. That gives you minus 20, minus 2, minus 4, minus 60. You make summation of it, because the formula says the summation of I is equal to 1 to n, right, of n here means there are two securities A and B, right. So, this gives you sum of it, and these are 4 years of the return that is being given. So, sum is minus 42, right. So, then in this way you can calculate this covariance given in the following information is equal to minus 42 divided by 4 is equal to minus 10.5% squared, or you can say minus 10.5 squared percentage. So, this way you can calculate the covariance. So, simply what we have given, I am repeating how you have calculated covariance just to remind you, that is what we have taken is, in this example you are being given that 4-year return of security A and security B. On the base of this 4-year return, you have calculated expected return, right. So, on the base of these expected return, that is you have add up the return of 4 years divided by 4. Similarly, in security B, you have added up this return of 4 years and you divided by 4 to give you the average return, right. So, after getting the average return, you calculate deviation of A. Deviation means return of A minus expected return of A. Similarly, return of B minus expected return of B, and then you multiply the product of deviation of A and B, right. That gives you the deviations, product of the deviation, and you add it up, that gives you minus 42. Since there are 4 years involved, so you calculate the average of it, minus 42 divided by 4, that comes to be minus 10.5% squared deviation percentage, right. So, this is the way you calculate covariance. So, correlation coefficient measures the degree and direction of relationship between two variables, securities, right. The direction, as I said, there can be positive correlation, there can be a negative correlation, there can be no relationship at all, right. So, they tell you the direction. So, value ranges between plus 1 and minus 1, means perfectly correlated and perfectly negatively correlated. There is perfectly, if A will increase by 10%, B will fall by 10%. I will say the value will be minus 1, right. So, if A will increase by 10%, B will also increase by 10%. The value will be plus 1. So, value will range between plus 1 to minus 1. So, covariance is expressed in terms of units of measurement. Coefficient of correlation is independent of the unit of measurement. So, this P12 through which we measure the covariance of the security 1 and 2 is the covariance of 1 and 2 divided by risk of first security and into risk of second security. So, two stocks can be combined to form the riskless portfolio if R is equal to minus 1. If you want to create a riskless portfolio, and in case I am taking example of only 2 securities. So, if you invest in 2 securities which is having the minus 1 correlation coefficient or coefficient correlationship, right, that will give you the riskless portfolio. But practically it is very difficult, but I am saying just for theoretical purpose, I am telling you that if this is the case minus 1, then there will be a riskless portfolio. Risk is not reduced at all if the 2 stocks have R plus 1, right. So, you are not diversifying the risk, because the shares are moving, the return of the equity shares are moving in the same direction. So, the benefit of diversification will not come to you. Like this what it shows is security E and security F. There is a fluctuation. I am only telling you, on the x axis you are showing time, on the y axis you are showing investment return. So, if the fluctuations in the security E and F is this diagram is showing the fluctuation in the return of E security and the return of F security, right. And then on the base of this you are drawing on the third extreme right side, I have drawn the combined the risk and return, right. So, combined time and investment return. What you are finding is that fluctuation in the combination of E and F is less as compared to the fluctuations in the equity prices of E and Y with that time, right. So, this is the benefit of the creating a portfolio, right. So, because the coefficient of this is positive, right, and this shows this is the combination of the E and F. So, when two securities are perfectly positively correlated, R is equal to 1, no diversification possible. When two securities are positively related, that is R is less than 1 and greater than 1, right. So, diversification causes the portfolio risk to reduce, right. So, in order to reduce this portfolio risk, we should try to construct such portfolio. When two securities are negatively related, -1, right. So, R is less than 1 and greater than 0, diversification causes the portfolio risk to reduce, hedging benefits also exist. What I said, I am repeating, when two securities are perfectly positively correlated, no diversification possible. No diversification means no benefit of diversification, right. When two securities are positively correlated, positively related, diversification causes the portfolio risk to reduce, right. When two securities are negatively related, diversification causes the portfolio risk to reduce further, hedging benefits also exist. So, both the benefits, the portfolio risk as well as hedging benefits available to you. So, in this way, friend, we have discussed, I will continue with this, but in this lecture I have talked about initial stages of the calculation of portfolio return and the portfolio risk. Thank you very much.